Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Napoleon and today we're back with another Enlisted video, and one of the things that I've just recently found out was that Enlisted is officially adding jets. This should be practically no surprise to anyone who's been recently looking into Enlisted, but it's actually something that a lot of people, especially me, haven't expected to be so soon. I actually expected it to be coming 1 or 2 months later, but apparently Enlisted is giving this to us now, and this is pretty interesting. But in today's video, unfortunately, I'll be talking about something that Enlisted has either overlooked, or Enlisted has just essentially made Enlisted a much worse place for everyone, including ground pilots and other fighters. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how Enlisted is potentially going to destroy BR5 even more, and what I think about the update. But without further ado, let's get started. Starting with the jets. For those who don't know, the jets are in Tier 5. As of right now, there are a lot of propeller plays that are also in Tier 5, and in my personal opinion, the jets should be at least in Tier 6. And as a matter of fact, I believe that the jets should be in a place in which is quite literally the place between after World War II and right before the Cold War. Literally, there is just like 1 or 2 years amount of time in which I think Enlisted could just add these jets historically. Now, historically, the ME-262 was literally in World War II, so that can't be solved. But we have the F-80, we also do have the Su-9, the Kika, which technically was in the World War II, but almost never used, although in combat, I mean, and you have the Meteor, so that's great. In my personal opinion, this all should be put in a separate Tier 6, and Enlisted should start giving us stuff into Tier 6. Now, I honestly don't know what Enlisted is thinking about this. I do think a Tier 6 will make things so much better for the matchmaking, because Enlisted has told a quote, they are going to be fixing the matchmaking rules in the update and separate quote-unquote BR3 and BR5, and they will tell us more about the change in the future. In my personal opinion, just give us a Tier 6, put all the early Cold War or after World War II stuff in that section, and everyone will be happy. Because if you want to play late World War II, just play BR5. If you want to play the time between after World War II and before Cold War, it's literally BR6. So that's my personal opinion. And please, guys, do not even get me started on the RPZ B-43 for the Japanese. Apparently the Americans got it, and the Germans already had it. It was the German thing, and then it gave it to the Americans, and now Japan has it. I would have to say that Enlisted is practically running out of ideas for anti-tank weapons. I do think it's a much-needed boost for the Japanese team, but in the same time, I do think that Japan also has some unique stuff. A lot of this stuff could be given to a lot of factions, but there are a lot of stuff in history that the Japanese could use, and just giving them a German anti-tank launcher isn't really, let's just say, unique. But let's move back to the fact of the jet power. For starters, the jets are going to be slightly in between overpowered and a little bit overpowered. For those who don't know, the jets both have bombs or heavy guns. Some of them have 30 mils, some of them have 50. If we're talking about the ME-262 with the 50mm cannon, yeah, A1U4, so that's great. In my personal opinion, these things are gonna outmatch the early fighters or late fighters. Any fighter they fight against, the jets have the ability to just zoom past. And if Enlisted decides to, like, well, we're not gonna have them that fast, then it destroys the purpose of a jet. I kid you not. If the jets cannot race past fighters, then there are practically no jets, but if the jets race past the fighters, then pretty much fighters are completely useless at this point, because what the jets could do if they're being chased by a fighter is just go away. And there's pretty much nothing that propellers, any plane with a propeller, can do about this. And this is why I advocate for Tier 6, because I do think that's a very good idea. Put jets in that tier, but Enlisted has decided to put them in Tier 5. Now, the test server hasn't come out yet, but if they still put jets in Tier 5, it will be quite disappointing, because not only is this a balancing issue, considering the jets have a lot of guns and a lot of bombs in some cases, I do suggest that the jets be in a situation in which they are in by themselves, and a Tier 6, potential Tier 6, is a good idea. Now, in my personal opinion, there are a lot of issues with the jets as of right now. One of them is matchmaking. If the Tier 6, potential Tier 6 of course, can actually face against Tier 5s, then the issue is nulled, in the sense that there's not really a thing. But if Enlisted is really trying to redo the battle system, then I do think that Tiers 3 and Tiers 4 will be one of the best tiers to fight against, and Tiers 5 would actually be one of the worst now. So that's that. That is my personal opinion on jets as of right now. I do not think they are overpowered in the sense that they can fight other jets, but I do think they're overpowered against propeller planes, and against ground targets. If you know how to use a jet, then good job. If you don't, it's going to be a learning curve, and I bet a lot of people will be learning a curve, so that's great. In my personal opinion, jets are a future of Enlisted. Cold War is also a future, but the implementation of these jets is what I think must be done well. Notice how I say must be done well, because if it doesn't, then what's going to happen is that people are just going to quit the game, and it's going to be sad, because I do think Enlisted is starting to go in the right direction, or have a step in the right direction. But without further ado, this is all it for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Discord, and I'll see you in the next one.